So I'm going to fix this part of the leg. So last night, we had these colors: yellow ochre, burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, Naples yellow. And I have here cadmium red light and cadmium yellow light and white. So today, working on this, I realized that the yellow ochre, I haven't used it yet. It's sitting there just in case. I have been using burnt sienna, ultramarine violet, and I'm mixing these two together and mixing it with white. So if I want to highlight, this is what I'm doing. I'm simplifying it. I'm taking yellow, red, I'm making an orange for the part that's kind of orangey skin, and adding white. So if I want to highlight, I'm adding white to the orange. It looks better. It doesn't look, it's washed out. So her orangey tan stays there. Now, if I want to make this color more of skin tone, I'm going to take burnt sienna, put it in. So instead of taking burnt sienna and white, which gives me pink, to keep it orange, I'm adding orange to it. Otherwise, if I use burnt sienna and white only, I'm going to get pink, just kind of toned down pink. But I want it to be still like a tan color skin. So she is tanned, but she's sitting in the sun. If I use just orange and white, it's going to look too orangey. So I'm adding burnt sienna to tone it down and make it more like a skin tone, but orangey. Okay, so now let's try. Wipe my brush and let's try here. See if it's highlighted enough. That's good. That's a good highlight. That's kind of I can see the orange color or skin tone. That looks good enough. Now I want to add a strong highlight where the knee is, right here. So I'm going to take a smaller brush because I'm going to add more white. I take a smaller brush, add more white to the same mixture, same highlight, but more white. And I'm going to come here and just add white where I see it. Notice that in these kind of paintings or where there's sun, the transition between the values is kind of strong. So you usually what we get is if you're doing skin tone, we will get a soft transition between light and dark. But with this kind of paintings or this kind of sunny parts of the skin, the transition is strong. It's like the value is strong. So you will see dark, dark, then you'll see light, light right next to it. That's because of the strong sun. What I'm trying to do is have a soft transition because I don't want to see that. That's too much. I still want to see a soft transition between dark and light. So I like to do a dark, medium, light still. So I'm taking now just burnt sienna, ultramarine violet, right there. And I'm going to go back here and just kind of wipe my brush, adjust with the corner of my brush the darks and lights in here, the value. Okay, so this is good. Go back to the strong highlight, or actually medium tone. Let's do medium tone. So in between here, there's a medium tone. Just use burnt sienna. Okay. All right, let's simplify this. Let's go back. The dark part, burnt sienna and ultramarine violet. Dark part, burnt sienna, ultramarine violet. So that gives me a really dark part. To transition to a medium tone, wipe your brush, pick up some burnt sienna only, put it here in between the dark and the light. So I have now dark because of the ultramarine violet in my burnt sienna, only burnt sienna. Pick up now for highlights, orange, very simple. Let's simplify it. Orange, add some burnt sienna in it, just a touch, and white, and that's the strong highlight here. With the corner of the brush, slowly go over. That's good. If you find it's looking a bit too orangey, just add more burnt sienna in here to make it more pink. Now we have so we have medium, we have dark, medium, and light. And now last one is taking more white, adding it to that orangey color in here, and then just coming here and highlighting more with white, the front of the leg, the knee, over here where the foot is. Ah, that's good. That's like a soft transition from dark to light using the orange and burnt sienna. There. Same thing for this part. This part here, this chair in the back is, this is where the leg, this is part of the chair in the back, which I'm gonna change color because it's blending with the skin tone. So this is awesome. This is the way it should be. If we want to continue, I'm gonna take burnt sienna for the bottom of the leg, the heel, and really keep it very simple. Okay, I'm gonna fix this with the sand color eventually. Now, we can do this again next week with this leg, but I'm gonna do it now just for you to see, because I simplified it. I simplified the whole process. Burnt sienna. Okay, don't make it too thick. Burnt sienna, just burnt sienna. Don't do anything else. Burnt sienna. Let's simplify. helps that we have orange underneath. So we don't have to put too much burnt sienna in here. Let's see how the leg is. Okay. Let's do that here too. Burnt sienna. Perfect. All right. Now, let's take ultramarine violet, mix it with burnt sienna again. And that's the darkest dark. So this is the darkest dark right there. This is the dark part. And over here too. Again, that's working very well. So simplifying colors works very well in this because we really don't have a big space. We're working on small, so we don't really have to worry about too many colors in here. Now, let's do this again. That's burnt sienna, ultramarine violet. Good, good. Ultramarine violet is such a soft, soft color. It will give us, it won't interfere with the burnt sienna, but it will give us a really beautiful dark in here, dark skin in here. So we can still see the orange. Okay, good. Again, bottom of the leg. I'm still working with burnt sienna and ultramarine violet. And also, ultramarine violet is a transparent color. So that's why you can still see whenever you mix it with any other color, you can still see the original. So that's why it doesn't take over. It's a soft, soft, transparent color. It's perfect for blending it or mixing it with other colors. Okay. Now, let's do this part. Now, I know there is a bit of too many details in here for the for this part. I'm going to ignore this dark line. So what I'm looking at is dark. I'm going to go medium all over, which is this orangey medium, then highlight. That's it. So I'm going to take medium, which is burnt sienna again. Burnt sienna has orange in it. It's a dark brown, but it has orange. Now, I darkened this area here just with another layer of transparent or another thin layer of burnt sienna, but I kept this. I didn't go over that part because there's a highlight in there coming. So now I'm going to mix orange here. I'm getting ready for highlighting. I'm going to mix an orange, cadmium yellow light, cadmium red light, take burnt sienna, put it in here to make it more pink, and put white slowly. All of these colors, I'm using the corner of my brush. So don't go, when you pick up any color, pick it up with the corner of your brush. Now, I'm going to wipe. And I'm going to come here and highlight this part with the corner of my brush, blending it softly. When I finish doing this, I will gauge how dark or how light this should be. So colors, when you put them or value, you have to really wait and adjust to see how dark and how light they have to be. You have to compare them to each other. All right, let's take orange. bit of burnt sienna in my orange, and I'm gonna come here because now I have the highlight, so I can compare and see. When I put the highlights here, I realize that this is a bit dark, but that's okay. I want it to be dark because I don't want to put my orange now over a light. When you put your orange over dark, it's easier, it's better. The transition is better. Good. All right, excellent. That's giving me a really nice tan in here. Okay, wipe. I'm going to pick up more white. This is really awesome color. So orange here with a bit of burnt sienna and white, and I'm going to highlight this again more with more white. I'm going to highlight this. Oh, that looks good. That's working very well. It's a beautiful kind of a pinky orange highlight in here. Again, you know, we have to wait for the color to dry so we can adjust the value and adjust the color itself. So I'm seeing a bit more red in here. So I'm picking up red, and this part here, the orange I have with white, I'm just bringing in some bit more red. Actually, this red will give me a pinkish tone, which is good. Good. Now, from here to here, it shouldn't be the same. This is higher, this is lower. This will catch more sun or light, and this will catch less. So I'm going to take just burnt sienna, nothing else, because the darks in the dark in here, the slight dark in here, doesn't have any shadow in it. It's just the skin is darker. Okay, burnt sienna with the corner of my brush. I'm just working it in a circular movement. So now what I have is a nice transition between light and dark, and I'm going to wait for the this highlight or this part to dry. Meanwhile, while I'm waiting, I'm going to take burnt sienna only. I washed my brush. I'm going to take burnt sienna and check here. I'll put some bit of highlight in here. This is too strong of a dark between, although it is like this in the reference, but I'd like to bring it more into this color here, into more skin tone. So very easy. Let's take burnt sienna, ultramarine violet. So the reason I'm putting ultramarine violet here, although I do have it here, is because when I'm gonna put the orange to highlight it a bit, this part here, just to make it more skin tone, it doesn't turn too much orange. So let's see. A little bit more. Let's take some orange and mix some orange in here. White. Okay, let's take our highlighted orange, put it in here. So this is a burnt sienna with ultramarine violet, highlighted a bit with a light orange, creating an orange here, putting some white in it, and add it to the burnt sienna and ultramarine violet. That's why ultramarine violet will keep this skin tone in the dark or in the brown instead of turning it into an orange. So we have a good shadow skin in the shadow area here. Let's put some white, some water in here. Excellent. That's what I wanted. I wanted the skin tone, but still in the shadow area. You know, if you're working on this, if you decide to work on it during the week, please send me the painting and how it's, you know, how it's, if it's working or if it's not working. Let me know what's happening. I'm going to take more white. That's an orange. I'm mixing an orange and I'm putting white in it, but I'm going to take a stronger white now because this is dry now. So I can add this beautiful, shiny highlight in here. Oh, love that. Okay, more here. Just a knee part. And just a bit here. That gives you a shiny skin. Just a bit, not much. All right, that's awesome. All right, let's do that here too. Okay, no, I don't want to go into a strong highlight right away. So I'm going to go into, I'm going to mix orange with white. Put it here. Oh, that's too yellow. All right. Orange, add burnt sienna to get a skin tone, which is like again, and white. It should look like a light skin tone, but it's a tan on the orangey side. Okay, now bring in some white to give it that highlight, strong highlight because of the sun. Change my brush because I can't control the detail in here with this the other brush. Okay, that's good. Oh, careful because it's lifting. Now, there's a strong dark in here, so I'm going to go in and just soften this transition between the strong dark and the highlight by using just burnt sienna mixed with a bit of that light orange. So I'm adding just a bit of burnt sienna in here. So that's like, see how it softens this transition between the strong highlight and the dark. Okay, now again. Perfect. Right. Burnt sienna. Let's try here and see if we can put some at the bottom of her heel. If we can highlight it a bit, just the bottom of the heel. It turns the foot around. If we can't, that's okay. It's not a big deal. It's not an important detail in here. I'm going to be fixing all this using the color of the sand, but this worked out very well. I'd like to see a soft transition here too. Again, burnt sienna. Let's see if we can do it just with burnt sienna. Yeah, a little bit of a highlight in here. Just a tiny transition, tiny, like there's, I know in the picture there's a sharp line, but honestly, sometimes what you see in the reference as a photograph, like a photo when you're painting, doesn't mean that if you do the same, it's going to work. And sometimes what you want to do is glaze this on. So the best way to do this is to do the skin tone just the way it is here, like light, and then mix a burnt sienna and ultramarine violet, make it watery when everything is completely dry, and put it over. So this way, the shadows are transparent. You can see through them. But if you put a dark color, if you mix burnt sienna and ultramarine violet, and you put it here like we did at the beginning, and then you create a line. This line is disconnected from the rest of the skin. It looks like she's wearing socks or pantyhose or whatever in here. So the best way to do this is to wait for it to dry and then glaze it on. Now, this is, we can get away with not doing this right now because it's a small area. It's not a big area. But if you are working on a big area and you want to show shadows are not opaque, they're transparent. Okay, this is better. This is much better. Okay. I used burnt umber for this strong line in here to create that beautiful kind of line to separate the legs. Now I'm mixing burnt sienna and ultramarine violet, putting some water in here, making it more like a glaze. Wipe my brush and come here. Okay, perfect. Okay, again, more. Let's separate these two legs with a bit of dark in here. But it's like a glaze. Okay, awesome. That's good. That worked. Now, I would like to highlight the part of the tummy over here. So I am mixing orange. I'm going to put white in it. And I'm going to come here and highlight this. Oh, more white, because it's going to dry darker. Small brush. Don't push the light all the way. You still need dark, medium, another medium, and strong highlight. Strong highlight should just sit like right here. That's awesome. last night we tried putting some, I think it was, let's see, for the chair, we mixed for the chair yellow ochre, ultramarine violet plus red plus Naples yellow for whites, for highlights. So now it's dry. I'm gonna put Naples yellow here, just Naples yellow over this. I really want to disconnect the skin tone from the chair. Yeah, that works. That really, really works. That's good. Okay. So we know for next time, what we want to do is put dark first, which is burnt yellow ochre and ultramarine violet with a bit of red. Put it here to create a darker base for the chair. Once it's dry, we're going to put yellow ochre over that. That looks great. Okay, good. We should do the same for this one here in the back to disconnect it as well from the skin tone. This is still connecting too much with the skin tone. I removed the chair from here because it was over, and from here too, because the detail was taking away from the actual main. I didn't think about that when I switched the chair around. That's a good lesson for next time. Okay, it's much better. At least you can see her. And once we put the arm here, it will look much better. Now, since I have the color of the Las Naples yellow, I am putting a touch of burnt sienna in it. And I am going to come here and adjust the shape of the leg because I lost that when I was doing the leg. I'm going to adjust it. Negative painting. I'm using the negative painting. All righty. All right, here. Let's put her foot in sand. This way we don't have to deal with a lot of detail in here. And let's adjust this part. And clean up this part too. You're welcome to work on this next time or have it done before. It's up to you. There's no need to rush. I can do this again next Wednesday night when we have the class, and if you prefer. So really no need to, if you don't have time, no problem. Now, I see here that I need to highlight a bit or fix that. There, that's better. I lost the shape of the toe. This is a finicky little detail in here that it's taking longer than it should. All right, let's get some highlight. Some white mixed into that orangey thing, orangey color. And again, wait for it to dry a bit and adjust the highlights. Okay, I'll take a picture, send it, email it with the video. I really need to stop, but just last a bit of more detail in here. Colors shift when they dry in acrylics. So we have to always wait for it to dry and then adjust. Highlights and darks and all of that. So and take a bit of burnt umber. Come in here. Actually, burnt umber, some orange in it. Just a bit of orange with burnt umber in here, like a light orange with burnt umber, because the transition again, because you know, when the paint dries, you get that harsh color that's sitting there, and I really, it was like it's dark from here to here all the way, and then I have a highlight. So all I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of just over here, because the rest is hidden by the other leg, just over at the front, the bottom of the leg. I'm just going to highlight it now. Let's highlight it again. A strong highlight with white and orange. And that looks better. Yeah. What I did is, because when the paint is dry now, what I saw is a dark transition from, actually a dark color from here to here, same, and then white or light. So what I did is I just softened in between. I created an in-between value for the skin tone in here. That's all. Same thing. I created here. There's a in-between value, and then you have dark. So you have dark here. You have an orangey dark in here, like an in-between value, and then you have a highlight. Same thing for that one. It's the same exact idea by using orange and burnt sienna. That's better.